advertised. I'm Heather Pristash. I'm part of the English faculty here. Slightly not as advertised. It isn't quite the dark arts you're thinking about, although it would be appropriate with Halloween and, you know, go Ravenclaw, shout out to my fellow nerd birds. But this is actually a much darker form of arts that I wish were sometimes a little more funny and magical. We're going to go someplace slightly different here. Hello. So, with this being a lunchtime presentation, I realize that what I'm about to do in a room without food is really evil. I know that. I apologize for that. Just saying. But as of right now, or before this came up, was anybody feeling hungry? Okay, let's see how that goes after you watch this.
When you freeze something,
It's for later.
but how much later?
There's no way to be sure!
But Wendy's is sure that if you want a juicy, delicious hamburger right now, it should be made with fresh, never frozen beef, unlike some other guys. So that's what's in every single hamburger Wendy's serves, and the doubles and the triples, because at Wendy's, fresh never gets old.
So, anybody a little hungrier now? Why is that? Imagery? What else? You're thinking about food, and you're thinking about food in a positive way. It's not like, hey, sometimes people eat cockroaches. It's like, yummy, delicious. Okay, so you're thinking about food. It was suggested. You were shown pictures. What else? I hear whispering, but it doesn't help unless I can actually.
The music was catchy.
The music was catchy, and the music was upbeat. So it makes us think food equals upbeat equals fun. All of this is brought together under one thing. And that thing is rhetoric. Smart, visual, verbal, and audio rhetoric are the keystones to why advertising works. Smart, strong, deliberate choices. I primarily teach English. Within that, I also teach an intro to film appreciation. And as part of that, one of the things I'm very fond of saying to students in there, things don't happen by accident. In a film, by and large, if something's on that screen, somebody did it deliberately. Somebody planned for that to happen. Somebody spent a lot of time and money making that happen. Same for ads. This is deliberate choice making. So, to step back for a minute, what are the areas within English? Because I know for some people, like, oh, wait a minute, you're an English professor. Why aren't you talking about literature? Hang on. So, we have 4 main basic areas of what we do. Literature is one of them. Studying important written works from various time periods and various styles. That's really important. And literature can be creative and other texts. Creative writing, that's also part of what we do. In our department, we have great courses in Intro to Creative Writing poetry, prose, memoir, lots of good stuff. Composition. These are the bulk of the courses that most of you have. Who in here is in 1010? English 1010. There we go. Who's already taken English 1010? Who's in English 1020? Okay. So those are composition. Studying how we write and teaching you to become better writers. And understanding what we're doing when we write and how it functions. And then we have rhetoric. Now, I do something personally in all of those, But composition and rhetoric is my primary home base. That's what my PhD is in. So that's why I'm kind of bringing that to you today. So, great, good. That's awesome. What is rhetoric? There's a lot of definitions. You know how often the words that seem really simple are the ones that are really hard to define in a meaningful way? Like, define love. Yeah. Rhetoric isn't quite there, but it's not far off. We've had a lot of people taking different swings at it over the years. One of them, Quintilian, a good man, which is what he said at the time, which I'm replacing with person, thank you very much, speaking well. So at that point, it was very much, if you were going to produce good rhetoric, you must be a good person. We've pretty much blown that one to smithereens, looking at, I don't know, Hitler. So the ability in each particular case to see the available means of persuasion, Aristotle. It's okay, but it makes it sound like all rhetoric is about really obvious argument and persuasion. It's not. Communication associated with deliberate action. I like that one. That's Jones and Royster. And I think it's getting a little closer, but it's leaving out some important things. Herrick. Planned, adapted to an audience, shaped by human motives, responsive to a situation, persuasion-seeking, concerned with contingent issues. Okay, that one's really long. And I still think it doesn't nail it down. So here's what I like. Aristotle's rhetorical triangle. It is the relationship of three basic things: the speaker, the audience, and the message. So, speaker, in the case of that ad, it's Wendy's. It's a company talking to you. Message, you should buy a hamburger from us. It's pretty simple. Audience, that's where it gets a little more complex. When companies run ads on TV, they are very much targeted specifically to a specific audience, to a specific group that is likely to be watching at that time that they think that persuasion will work for. This one was pretty general, but I would still guess that in the ad briefing they sat down and said 18 to 45, primarily white male, but other groups included, because that's kind of the biggest common denominator when they talk advertising. But all of these have a relationship to each other. Let's get away from advertising for a moment and think about it in really common terms. If you have a message to communicate that you lost your job, and you're saying it to your mom, the way in which you are saying it is going to differ from if you're telling your best friend, or if you're telling another potential employer. You are communicating the same message and you are the same speaker, but because of your relationship with that audience and their relationship with that knowledge and with you, you're going to say it very differently. Okay. So, how does it help us to know what this is? Why do we care? Once you know what this is, and you have some basic skills in rhetorical analysis, or the ability to analyze these things, then it is possible for you to pick apart the persuasion that other people try to give you. And we get persuasion constantly, particularly in this visual mass communication era. Particularly, we get it in advertisements. If you are not paying attention and you are not thinking about it, it is really easy to just go, oh, suddenly I want whatever was on that screen. This is what I'm talking about as the dark arts. The persuasion to do or get or eat or buy things that you might not really want if you were thinking about it a little more clearly. So, if you can understand rhetoric, and you can work through the basics of rhetorical analysis, you will be in a much better place to kind of ward off some of these moves from people. So, how do we start? I really, really like this breakdown from Colorado State. And they use the acronym REALM. So, reader, think audience here. Essay, whatever, think ad, message. Author, think company, if we're still talking about ads. Limitations, what are the things that you can say or cannot say? Motivation. Let's spend a little more time on limitations and motivation. What are the limitations when it comes to an ad? Yes? Nudity. As much as it might sell a burger, they can't have a fully 100% naked human standing there just like, hey, if you want a hot person like me, eat this burger. They can't do that. Okay, what else? Language. Depending on where it's being shown and when. Really, really big issue. What can you say? What words can you use? Yeah, there are some ads that do bust into the quote-unquote spicier language. There are some ads that bust into the more implied nudity. But they're very much targeting those to when and where they're being run. You don't typically see those running on like Cartoon Network during the day. They're paying attention. What else? Time? Absolutely. So, ads cost money. Particularly if it's like a big ad, if it's a Super Bowl ad. There we're starting to run like $1 million a second kind of money. So, how much can you afford? Because you're picking really carefully. Okay, I've got to nail it down to 15 seconds because that's what we can afford here. How are we going to do it? What else? You had your hand up?
Ethics.
Ethics.
You couldn't show like, slaughtered animals or something,
Well, and this is part of it. This is where it gets tricky because there's ethics as in here's the stuff that we'll get busted for. If we go on and say that competition is evil and their food will kill you, they will get sued. If they say something that's just irresponsible, it is very possible that it could be a situation of how irresponsible. Where's the line going to be before they get legal ramifications? Or before they get, possibly even more importantly, ramifications from potential buyers being like, dude, no, that's not cool. That's not cool, I'm not okay with that. And that's very much a line they walk. So, those are the limitations. Here's one that should be easier but isn't sometimes. Motivation. What's the motivation for an ad? Money. Money, 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 money. It is making money. It is asking for money. Or it's asking, if it's a public service announcement, it is asking to elicit behavior. Sometimes that behavior is tied to the donation of money. But it wants you to do something. This is really important to remember, particularly with today's ads that have so much focus on humor. And kind of be weird and wacky, like some of the Doritos ads, they're just like really strange humor. It's really easy to watch that and think, oh, the person making this ad wants me to laugh. Well, yes, they do. But they don't want you to laugh because like their heart is full of love and they want to make you feel good. They want to make you laugh because they think if you laugh, they get money. And it sounds like that's incredibly easy to remember, but it's not. Okay. So, one other thing that was on that I rolled past because I'd rather just talk that out. Pinpointing that specific audience can tell you a lot also. Looking at who specifically they want to buy the product or do the thing. And if you're looking at it and saying, ads are pretty general. Okay, Honda Element. Anyone in here drive one? Boxy, kind of like CRV? Okay, they came out early 2000s. And they came out and were pitched for, and I kid you not, it was this specific. They were pitched specifically for guys who had graduated college but had not yet gotten the quote unquote real job. So specifically like early 20s, who enjoyed outdoor activities and would want to use them to drive around with buddies. That's an entire car pitched at like a tiny little group of people. Ads can be even more specific than that. So let's revisit that ad now. Pay attention. Think about what things you are responding to and what they want from you. Notice detail.
When you freeze something,
It's for later.
but how much later?
There's no way to be sure.
But Wendy's is sure that if you want a juicy, delicious hamburger right now, it should be made with fresh, never frozen beef, unlike some other guys. So that's what's in every single hamburger Wendy's serves, and the doubles and the triples, because at Wendy's, fresh never gets old.
Okay, what'd you notice? Looking at it this time. I was about to say, I see a few hands. Yes?
Well, anytime like they were trying to be like, anytime they were talking about like the competition or anything, I noticed it was all gray and blue and very monotone and kind of sadder colors rather than like the reds and bright colors whenever they were talking about Wendy's.
And also colors we don't associate with food. Like muted gray and blue are not colors we often look at and go yummy. Okay?
I was gonna say it had a girl in it in the beginning and the end for a second, and then it said not like some other guys, and then it had guys in a certain age range the rest of the way.
Yeah, which was interesting. I mean, they're almost trying to position themselves as like countercultural, man. We're like the small, hip, alternative burger. Come on, you're a big freaking corporation. I'm from Ohio. I know you're huge. But they're kind of trying to pull that. Anything else you noticed?
They made the burgers look like, I mean, I've never seen a Wendy's burger look like.
No. I like Wendy's, and I've never seen a Wendy's burger. I worked at Wendy's once. I've never seen a Wendy's burger look like that. I mean, those are groomed by food stylists within an inch of their lives. And the chance that you could eat any of them is pretty small. Slim to none. I'm guessing they're probably sprayed with lacquer, paint, I mean, all sorts of craziness. Yeah.
This is a little bit veering off, but in my nutrition class, I learned that a lot of the times the advertisements, specialists will actually glue on a certain amount of sesame seed onto the ones of the burgers and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
It looks perfect.
Oh, absolutely. And I sit there with tweezers, make sure you have the right amount of sesame seeds, make sure the burger bun looks properly bouncy. Oh, yeah. The whole thing. Yeah.
Try to make the frozen aspect of the hamburger look disgusting.
Yes. And notice, they're saying frozen equals disgusting. Anyone in here ever eat frozen food? Like, you ever pulled something out of the freezer and made it? But they're really trying to make you think that. Now, do you know what the historical setup was around this at the time, by chance? So this ad dropped right after they first started to hear things from McDonald's about, we're not going to freeze our burgers anymore. And Wendy's heard that and went, really? And started rolling out ads. So the other guys they're going after, that is totally McDonald's. The big chain, McDonald's. Now they're still being a little subtle about it here. Remember that. Okay. So, next step in thinking about rhetorical analysis. Artistic proofs. We have three. Yes, rhetoric is big on triangles. We just are. So we have ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos, credibility. Not just who you actually are, but who you project yourself as being. For instance, people in here turn in papers. Anyone ever do those written on toilet paper and crayon? No? Why not? I mean, toilet paper's free. It's right there. Why would you not do this? Not professional. If you got a paper written in crayon on toilet paper, my fellow professors, would you be like, wow, this person is taking it seriously. I am here for this. No, you would not. You would make certain assumptions about where they were coming from. Not a quick way to an A. But trustworthiness or reputation. Also, thinking about who it is and what you associate with that person. Having a spokesperson for an ad as Morgan Freeman, official voice of God, versus Kim Kardashian. You're saying something very different about who you are and what that product is. Okay, pathos. And people look at this and they see like pathetic, and that's true, it's the same root, but it can be both like happy and sad and excited, and it can be any kind of emotion. So when an ad is getting you emotionally involved. Logos, logic. So this can be like the kind of facts and figures stuff. It can be reasoning, argumentation. It can also be logic of arrangement. Like what do you put where? Like what background color do you put that burger in front of? Oh, it's going to be red. So that reads as hot and juicy. So these are the other next important things to consider. Now with that figured in, there we go. Let's look at the follow-up ad. This ad happened just a little bit later, and it's still kind of, well, you'll see. You'll see what Wendy's is thinking here. They're not subtle. So, not subtle at all. It's like, hello, have a McDonald's logo and a direct reference. Bring on the lawsuit, we're prepared.
Yeah, say that legally, are they legally able to do that?
Ooh, they're walking a line.
Yeah, like,
And notice, there is a ton of fine print. Like, if you look at this, McDonald's.com, they're like, okay, we have receipts, there's the page. It's on your webpage. We have the address. What are you going to say? Like, they're really trying to back it up and avoid major issues from moment one. Notice, though, they're going pretty hard negative against McDonald's, but what do they not say? I'm sorry? McDonald's is evil. What else do they not say?
They never actually said, like, and them freezing their meat is bad for you.
Right. They never said it's bad for you. What else did they not say? Don't buy it. What else did they not say? Our food's better. Or McDonald's burgers taste bad. But are they trying to imply it? And we all know that that's what they're implying here. I mean, particularly, and I love this little that they walk out with. It's just this little extra bit of snark. Hang on. Skip the hamburgers at the frozen arches. Some of you might not have even seen that the first time through because we're so used to going golden arches and we mentally fill in the blank. Again, they are just on that line of what they can get away with in this sucker. I would be very surprised if they did not make this ad only after a conversation with lawyers, just to kind of go, are we on that line? Like, have we crossed it? Are we there? Because they swung into an ad campaign directly calling McDonald's out, pretty viciously too.
They never specifically said McDonald's. They just used the artist. I mean, with the M, but.
They did say the word McDonald's.
They did.
At the beginning, because they called out that this is on McDonald's.com.
Oh, no,
Which,
that's on the bottom.
ow, yeah, that quote about the frozen, that's McDonald's. It's right on their website.
Okay.
And they're like, here's the URL, fight us. They're very much making it a point. Stacey, what time is it? I forgot to wear my watch. Okay, excellent. So, they're really walking a line here, but they are playing within their limitations. Their motivation, definitely to get you to buy the burger. What's the other motivation that they've got playing? Yeah.
Get you to not buy McDonald's burgers.
Don't buy McDonald's. Immediately, as soon as you pull into that drive-thru, we want you thinking about that frozen meat and that really bummed out guy holding a hairdryer to it. And we want you thinking like, ew, that's gross, and going somewhere else. Absolutely. That is 100% what they're trying to get you to do. Who do you think their audience is with this one? Adults?
Somebody that can obviously read.
Somebody that can read? Sure. Although then again, there's plenty of parents who have the moments of a kid seeing something on the screen going, Mommy! Yeah.
Well, families, because you don't want to feed your kids. You don't take their burgers.
Yeah, that's fair. What else?
McDonald's customers.
I'm sorry?
McDonald's customers.
McDonald's customers, absolutely. Particularly, I would say they are targeting people like what we have here in town, where we've got a McDonald's near a Wendy's, and they want you driving to McDonald's and going, no, and turning around and coming back. They want to make you rethink. They want to make it sound like theirs is just so much yummier. Now, that said, again, is flash frozen necessarily bad when it comes to buying beef patties? Yes? No?
No, a lot of people buy them at the store and they cook them in the house, so I mean, it holds in the nutrients, doesn't it? More so than or whatever nutrients.
Well, I mean, obviously we need nutrition prof in here ASAP if anyone can bring one up, but yes.
The Titanic wasn't helping.
Yeah, the Titanic is kind of a low blow. Like, we've just compared their burgers to the Titanic. Wow. Now, granted, that may not play with everybody because apparently they are making a replica of the Titanic and launching it for cruises. So maybe there's some people who didn't learn a lesson the first time. But
I heard it's supposed to like sail the same route too. I've seen some memes where it showed like it would do the same, yeah.
you just, what? No. But still, obviously, McDonald's frozen burgers play no role in causing the Titanic to sink. In case anybody was curious, I think we can say that pretty definitively. But they're making it sound as though McDonald's burgers are just, man, they're just a pile of misery. They'll taste terrible. You won't enjoy them. They cause ships to sink. It's just bad juju, man. Don't go to McDonald's. And they actually have further ones in this series where they go further into that. And like further ties to why McDonald's is bad. It's pretty amazing. So, any other thoughts or questions on this ad? Did you guys have anything? Okay. So, I'm going to move in another direction then. moving away from food, but to some of the ads where a few things are a little less clear.
She said, "You have big hair. You've got to do something about it."
I grew up thinking that I couldn't be blonde because Asians just didn't do that.
I've been criticized for straightening my hair, as if straightening it means that I don't embrace who I am.
A friend once told me if I put color back on my hair, it would make me look better.
Express yourself.
Stop saying that gray hair is not beautiful. Because it is. It is beautiful.
A lot of people say that curly hair isn't professional. I don't buy that for a second.
Express yourself.
When I tell people I'm a financial analyst, they're very surprised.
Express yourself. Express yourself. Whatever you do, whatever you do, it's not what you look like. When you do it, what you do is what you're doing. When you do it, when you look like what you're doing, express yourself.
Okay. So, this is a challenging one in some ways. What is the motivation? Buy Dove products. How are they getting you to buy Dove products? Actually, I think, no, your hand is up first. I think your hand is up first, in front.
Women with different styles of hair. The assumption is that all of them are using these various products made by Dove that express their hair quality and either magnify it or make it better or whatever it is.
Okay.
And that's what I was going to say too, just like, they're basically, like, in like a not so upfront way saying, if you buy our product, you can have your hair any way you want.
Exactly. Yes.
They're playing on the emotion, making you feel good about yourself. Saying that you'll feel good about yourself if you use this product.
So they're saying that you'll feel good about yourself if you use Dove. Absolutely. So they are selling you feel better about yourself through buying our stuff. And at the same time, they are selling you, hey, we've got something for everybody. We've got something for all these different women. We'll have something for you. But the biggest thing is it's this message of feel good about yourself. And the reason that you'll feel good about yourself is because you're using Dove. So use Dove. So it's not straightforward, buy our stuff. I mean, do you even see any Dove products in this? Like, you don't see any scenes of any of them, like, in the shower doing the, like, the shampoo that they only do on commercials. Yeah, like the herbal essences that all their hair looks completely straight and perfect. There's no suds in their face. There's none of that. It is just straight up, hey, feel good about yourself. You're a modern woman. You have diverse needs, and you're unique. We understand that. P.S. by Dove. So, very much, there's no straight up like, here's Dove shampoo for only like $3.99. You can get these benefits and blah, blah, blah. They're not doing that. It's a much softer sell. So, what kinds of things are they playing on out of those appeals that we looked at? Ethos, pathos, and logos. Yes?
Well, I noticed a lot of like different pathos from like, I personally was like really surprised when all the people moved and the lady was standing there with blue hair, and that surprise kind of stuck in my mind afterwards. Even though this isn't even aimed at me, it's still kind of stuck there as like if I was shopping for like my sister or my mom or my girlfriend or something, then this might come back to me because of those different.
Well, and the funny thing, I'm glad you mentioned that one, particularly as somebody who, frequently has funky colored hair herself. I love the way that they are playing on the surprise, but they kind of simultaneously want you to feel, not quite want you to feel bad for being surprised, but like, why would you be surprised? Of course she can be a financial analyst. She can be anything she wants with Dove, and so can you. But they do set it up for the surprise moment. I mean, I have great surprise moments when I've had my hair freshly done and it's all bright purple or bright blue, and people are like, what do you do for a living? Oh, college professor. So they orchestrate a moment of surprise and then want to kind of mess around with you for feeling that way. Yeah.
I got the sense that they were playing on people's rebellious nature too, that it's okay to rebel if you use Dove.
Mm-hmm. Because you want to be free. You want to be yourself. Notice we have the peace sign. And yeah. You want to be unique, like everybody else using Dove. But yeah, absolutely. There is something of rebellion, and there's something again about rebelling against the things that people tell you. Which, to be fair, they're being smart. Women in our culture specifically, people in general, but specifically women, get a lot of unsolicited comments on our appearance. I mean, I've had unsolicited comments on my hair color when it's been all kinds of shades. Stacey, I bet you probably have had a few comments from people at some point.
Why do you let it go gray?
Why do you do it? And it's like this gorgeous gray. I'm like, well, why do you do that? Why do you care? But what they're playing on is very realistic, but at the same time, with the music and the upbeat feeling and all of these stories on each other, like, oh, well, Dove is your path to freedom and rebellion. Dove is your path to being yourself. P.S. by Dove. I mean, again, it's a subtle ploy. You guys notice how many different types of women, too. And I like that people are calling that out. They're definitely making sure to do different ages, different groups, different settings. We've got, the woman in like the busy office building, and we've got, chick in her truck with a dog. We got the whole range, and all of them. So yeah, but the funny part is that people get into ads like this, like, man, it's just that Dove wants me to be me. Like, no, Dove wants you to buy their stuff. It's really hard sometimes to tell the difference. And that's on purpose. Again, dark arts, making you think, well, I want to be free and rebellious in myself, so I must buy this product to do it. Slightly different type of ad. And this is an ad type that's happening a lot of late. But this one's maybe a little further flung than some of you have seen. So, again, this ad's evoking emotion. You might be enjoying it, you might be watching it laughing, but it is selling you something. Why? Like, how are they making a sale for Hornbach?
Are they giving us do-it-yourselfers permission to screw up on our job and go back and buy more at their store?
That is pretty much exactly it.
That is so mean.
I could see your eyes light up. I figured I'd give other people a shot, but I was like, Chuck's gonna go here. But yeah, they're giving you that permission to like screw up royally. But like, we get it. Regret nothing, because we're there for you as you try and fail and wind up with like a splinter in your nose that's like 5 inches long. We're here. What else?
I realize it kind of plays with emotion a little bit in the beginning, then towards the end kind of shifts it back to normal.
So it plays with emotions and kind of shifts it from like you're kind of worried and scared, then you're laughing, and that shift helps. Okay?
So it kind of plays into a dynamic I think we've all been through, where we hear that something is going wrong, but we just continue hammering anyway. And so he continues hammering, the thing falls down on him, and he just starts laughing. And I think that that kind of appeals to the part of us that we all want to be, right? Like, we're in the rubble, things are on fire, like our kid's crying, and we just kind of get up and laugh about it. And I think that appeals to like a really wide demographic, because we're all going to do that at some point.
Yeah. The part of us that's like, okay, you're going to screw up, just own it and laugh at yourself. I would say the other thing, what about why do they have the little boy there? Why don't they just do this as the dad? I mean, we get the same thing where he's like hammering and boom and laugh. That'd work. Why are we adding him? Yeah.
I'd say maybe like to kind of target maybe a specific audience, like parents or people that may have children, I guess, in that case.
So to target specific audiences, people who might have children. What else? Yeah.
Oh, sorry, but like that sadness is amplified by like seeing his reaction to supposedly his dad, like probably dead. That's a lot worse than like, is that random guy going to be okay? But now he's a father.
Now we care about him. We're invested in the story. Yeah.
It gives the video a little bit more innocence.
I can see that. It makes it it gives the video a little more innocence, a little bit more naivete, where it's just like things are going wrong and it's kind of silly and over the top. Absolutely. I think that part of it is also, has anybody either been doing a project like that with a younger person or been a younger person doing a project like that with an older person where something spectacularly went wrong? And like, how often is that the story that you remember for years? You know, the time that the walls fell on you. Like, the time that. So some of what they're doing is also talking about the power of memory in a slight way. I think they're definitely doing that emotional thing. And yeah, if suddenly that's somebody's dad, we care more than like, who's this yutz who just keeps hammering? Who is this guy? Why is he doing this? So we definitely get invested in it in a different way. But it's important to notice, again, what is the purpose of the ad?
Buy that product.
Go to the store, buy the product, because they will understand you. You will come in looking like a porcupine with splinters, and they'll be like, you had that date, huh? Yeah, we've been there. And they will get it. They don't take themselves too seriously. So you can walk in and ask a stupid question. All of these things are implied. So, could those things be true of this store? I don't know. I've never been to one. I've never been to Germany. They could be fabulous. But the bigger deal is that they want to make you feel as though they are. Again, ethos appeal. What kind of opinion do you have of the store? So simultaneously, ethos and pathos. So, I think this is important to focus on because we are surrounded by advertising. We drown in it. We are surrounded by visual information. And a great deal of it is deliberately targeted using these very specific techniques. I am not saying that like it's a bad idea to go to Woody's or go to a specific home improvement place. But it is a bad idea to take these messages in without questioning and without having some tools with which to unpack them. Doing that, I think, makes you a better informed consumer and just better as a human being at dealing with the world around you. So, what questions do you have for me? Yes.
Why so many triangles?
I don't know. I would love to. And geometry is the one area of math I like, and yet. I'm not really sure, but they work out well. Other questions? Well, in that case, I hope you guys remember these tips about rhetorical analysis and have a wonderful day.